I built this deck for Monday. We played one match, then Nadu got banned, and then we pivoted to other stuff. This is kind of like a weird graveyard focus shifting woodland build of Naya that's really trying to woodland your Phlage. And then you're trying to use Fanatic mana to activate Woodland. And then between Channeler, Rumble, Seed of Hope, you have a lot of ways to dig through your deck and dump stuff in the graveyard for. And you can dump Phlage, Fanatic, and Detective Phoenix in the yard for value. And then can also like use that value with 6. I was really liking the vibes on Monday, and then we just didn't get to play it. So now we're circling back. Like Bill plus Fnatic. I thought about playing one Bill, but it's like Detective's Phoenix is kind of like your extra ferocious enabler here. And you know, Bill is okay, but Bill is kind of low card quality, simply put. So I'm probably gonna hold my Bauble till turn 2, and I can just take a peek at my top card and maybe get info on if I'm gonna be wanting to Raptor into that. Keep another Raptor. And let me update the Mox field too. Could be the Woodlands deck. Will not mind cascading into that here. We could cast Bonecrusher and then be able to tap Fnatic for 4, but then we could only really cast Seed of Hope, so we'll see. Up against Through the Breach. Chromos the 25, thank you so much. Welcome back. They get a basic forest. And they grab a Kozilek's Return off of this Ancient Stirring. So it's a good card to know about. Definitely something we can try to play around here. Yeah, I think I should probably just cast Bonecrusher and then double Seed of Hope. It's like a little bit awkward. Because if they have a ring, I would maybe want to stomp. I guess we're kind of far away from having like a super, like if they're a 20 life, you know. So playing another Eldrazi spell. They'll need another mana to kick a Myco Spawn. So this is probably Kozilek's command. Hopefully we can mill some juice for the Detective's Phoenix too. Oh, dude. Yeah, Seed of Hopes have been really unkind to me today. Oops. They decided to make spawns, so are they going to hardcast an Ulamog? That does not seem ideal. Seems like we can cast this Rumble and still cast Raptor and Phoenix, so might as well cast this first. Find another Bonecrusher Giant. And see what we hit off of the Raptor. Into a 6 with not enough energy. Okay. Hits have been not very good off of our card selection cards this game. Still have a Phoenix to bestow. 2, 3, 4. Take 2. So they're casting Ulamog next turn. It's not going to have that many counters. We'll see what happens. Kind of a bummer to like just not find a Phlage in the top 25. Or a Woodland for Phlage, or another Phoenix. Don't think Emrakul is super beatable here, but let's play it out. I think with them drawing Discharge, that'll be enough for me. Down a game against, I guess it's not Breach, it's just like normal like red-green Eldrazi ramp. If they play Emrakul, they don't usually have Breach. I don't know if I want Hearse to contain Emrakul. Seems a little slow. I think I'm going to cut 6s in this matchup when I cut the Discharges. And then maybe, if that's the case, we do play a couple copies of Hearse. Yeah, I don't think I want any discharges in the deck. Alright, let's try this. On the play. Then click the keep button. Gonna do, I think, this same sequencing of hold the Bauble to select for the Amped Raptor next turn. And Amped Raptor is a little bit ambitious in this list, but I think it's okay. Take a peek at our top card. Detective's Phoenix. So I think we are supposed to shuffle that away and YOLO out a Raptor. Do you think cutting the discharges make DRC a little weaker? I mean, a little bit, but I think it's still a card we can put into our deck. Draw a card off the Bauble. Just another land. Would love to find a Phlage. Have a few looks next turn. So Haywire Might makes bestowing Detective's Phoenix worse. Otherwise, it doesn't do too much against us. Sad that the Charmaw is not online, especially because it also turns on Ferocious for Fanatic. But let's just cast Seed of Hope. I might just cast Phoenix also. We do find a Phlage in the yard. So I could cast the Phlage and kill the Might this turn. Otherwise, I could leave this in the yard for the Shifting Woodlands. I think I would cast the Phlage this turn. Unfortunately, can't like cast Phlage, tap Fanatic for mana in response this game. But we'll just kill the Haywire Might with the intention of casting Charmaw next turn, and then maybe starting to Woodlands copy Phlage a turn after if we can find Delirium. And I think I think I only have 2 Surveil lands. Again, I built this deck last week. 1, 2, yeah, only 2. So no, we can't fetch Surveil looking for Delirium. Graveyard Talisman of Impulse. Oh, sorry, we do have Delirium with the Phlage in the yard. So next turn, Hardcast Charmaw. Then the turn after, tap Fanatic to copy Woodlands on the Phlage. Should be a pretty good plan. Although they're spending 5 Eldrazi mana. Is this Kozilek's Command again? This time they're scrying instead of making Eldrazi. I'm glad they're not exiling my Phlage, so don't feel too upset about this. We're just going to go Charmaw their Temple, attack for 2. Put 2 on the top, 1 on the bottom. So they're at 17, and the next turn I'm attacking for 6 plus 9, which is 15. So not quite lethal next turn, but I can put them to 2 with a Bonecrusher in my hand. Although now this can effectively gain them 2 life. And maybe they have another Kozilek's Command. That would be pretty backbreaking. Not something that we have the real like luxury of playing around though. And it kind of seems like if they had it, they might have already used it. So when it's down to 5. I like that we have Bonecrusher to beat the ring. We might get Imricold here. They have 3 cards in their hand. I'm not sure if they have enough mana, but not really like a lot we can do about it if they do. They do have exactly enough for Imricold. I'm not really sure if this is going to be good enough. Kind of seems like it won't be, but like we have 5 points. So like they need to like get. I guess they can go attack Charmaw into Imricold, stomp the Amped Raptor, fetch fail to find. They can also Detective's Phoenix with Bestow to exile Phlage from the yard, but then they won't be able to do that. Then also, they would have to cast the other Phlage first and leave the Bonecrusher in my hand. It's okay. They're playing this pretty fast. They stomped my Raptor. Then they cast... I think they just lost. Well, maybe not. They can Phoenix their Emrakul, exiling your entire graveyard. You can only bestow on your own creatures, I think. No, you can't. You can't bestow on opponent's creatures. That's the whole thing with Nantuko. Yeah, never mind. All right. Guess I should have fetched a temple garden instead of this forest. Because now we're going to lose the woodland, but we're putting them to 2 with a Bonecrusher in our hand. Seems okay. Happy anniversary, Tiranar. Can't believe it's been a year. Keep brewing. I will keep brewing. It was like a world breaker. Yeah, it definitely seems like they took that Emrakul turn too fast.
What's up? It's me, your friend.
Also looks like now Kozilek's command and not world breaker. Yeah. Exiling my graveyard and making spawns. Do they have a follow-up play? Gonna attack for 13. Attacking me here also, like they know I have Detective's Phoenix, so I guess they're saying that they have something, but kind of seems like they might just be forgetting about the Phoenix too. Either way, I'm gonna deal 2 damage to them while they're at 2. Nice, and go to game 3. Right, click submit. Okay, keep this one. Put it on a mold of 6. Definitely, kind of prefer for them to lead on colorless lands when you have Charmaw in your hand. What are you going to do? Dump that in the graveyard for some value is a good step 1, I guess. Might be ramping into Charmaw with the Rumble. There's a Talisman. Upkeep Stomp. Okay. So we'll see if we like our top card enough to Raptor into it. It's a Shifting Woodland. Let's just Rumble. Get ready to Rumble. A lot of options here. Or a few options here. Woodland to copy Phlage seems pretty good. And then I could also, I could go next turn just Eternalize Fanatic. Or, I'm like a little short of go, yeah, I'm not going to be able to go Eternalize Fanatic, bestow onto Phoenix, and then do something. But I think I'm just going to take the Woodland and then just see what develops. So yeah, if they play Ring, I'm going to go Woodland, Eternalize, and then we can go Fanatic, copy Phlage, plus Charmaw potentially. So now they probably have a Kozilek's command up. I think to best play around that, we just Eternalize. Since it just goes on the stack immediately. Although I guess maybe this is bad because they'll just exile and scry. And maybe casting Charmaw was better. Okay, I'll accept them having nothing. Wow, they just pass. What is happening? It's kind of close because I want to kill the commercial district so my second Charmaw is cheaper, but probably just kill the more powerful land here. Especially so they don't just go second temple all is dust or something like that. That's fine. Weird game. Kind of a weird deck in general. Obviously doesn't feel great to exile Phlage. We have another Phlage in our hand, and we get 6 extra damage right now, which seems worth it to me. Opponent's at 9 life. Be kind of tough for them to beat the Charmaws here. They top deck a third Temple in a row, and then they concede. Weird game. And then it's also like, to some extent, you really don't want to have a card like Vexing Devil in your deck that is mostly only going to be good if your opponent, when you have Fanatic and you're using it like a ritual. You know what I mean? Like, I would rather just like have Domain in my mana base and play Territorial Kavu instead or something. It's like, it just seems like it's only good as a ritual, and there are better options too. I had a weird dream where I was asking you to build a Leyline Scion Ugin's Lab deck. Leyline Scion Ugin's Lab deck. We have played Leyline Scion Ugin's Lab in a mono green devotion variant. I guess I'm keeping that. One thing I've been really wanting to do in like a Fnatic show, it's kind of inspired by like the mono green Stompy deck that did well in the Japanese tournament. That's kind of a meme. Is play Sunken Citadel plus Castle Garenbrig plus Shifting Woodlands, and then also play the green MDFC that sacks a creature, and then use Castle Garenbrig Shifting Woodlands to power out. Okay, this is nice. Great Seed of Hope. When Seed of Hope is like Entomb, draw a card. It is always so nice. I think I just want to play Fnatic here, but we'll see what they do. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So I want to cast the dinosaur from Big Score from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. That's the 7 mana 6/6. Whenever a creature power 4 or greater, including it, enters, gain 3 life, draw a card. And when it dies, you make a copy of it. And I want to cast that off Castle Garenbrig, and then I want to sack it to the MDFC, and then gain like 9 life and draw like 7 cards, and then lose the game. Yeah, Vaultborn Tyrant. So I was trying to like figure that out a little bit. Okay, so they pitch Waker of Waves to Subtlety. So it seems like we were up against Living End. So I guess I'm gonna bottom the Fnatic. When are you planning to play the next Vintage Feeder Leagues? I don't know. They're available on Saturday. That's the only time I could play them. So either Saturday or not. We'll see. I think it's possible to make Painter Simmer work in Modern. I mean, without Grindstone, like there isn't like a card that is like super synergistic with it or synergistic enough. How are we doing against Living End? We have double Drannith Magistrate, triple Hearse, not the worst. Any plans for the Necro Seismic Assault Brew you mentioned some time ago, especially now Grief is gone from the deck? I haven't really thought much about it, but maybe we can circle back. Could be something to do. I misclick. No, I did put the Fnatic on the bottom. So definitely want this Rumble to resolve pretty badly. Nice. I think I'm just going to cast a Raptor here. Okay, just trying to fill up the yard for their Living End. Got some bricks here, obviously. We could find another thing to mill. And also just like putting pressure into play here is really important so that our opponent feels like they have to Living End. And if they Living End here, like Phlage kills their Subtlety, and then we have Raptor, Bonecrusher versus the Generous End, which is like not a great place to be, but kind of a winnable position. Well, Violent Outburst is still illegal. I could maybe play a second channeler and then bestow and try to surveil stuff into the yard. I think I'll just cast another raptor, see what happens. Okay, stomp. I think we're doing stomp over Bonecrusher here to try to surveil another creature into the yard potentially. And there's another creature for the graveyard. Endurance. I mean, it's game one. If they have endurance, we're gonna lose. But like, game one endurance isn't like the most common thing. Thank you, chatter. Living in has manic endurance? No, not usually, or not pre-ban. At least 2-3 main. Since when? Since when are they? It's become stock. As everyone knows this now. So, like, damn it. Now you tell me. Is it just like since the grief ban they're main decking endurance? Since Tuesday. Now you tell me. I think we'll play the Fanatic. So if they're living into it, we're probably just going to eternalize. So they got 3 pre-ban, I see. I mean, living in has been kind of falling off. At least for a long time, there was not a bunch of endurances main. Why wouldn't living in have endurance main? It complements their game plan so well. I mean, it does it. Like, I think it's mostly good in like sideboard games where you care about graveyard hate or you care about creature decks. It's like not super good in a lot of matchups. But it maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm off. I wasn't even necessarily expecting to see a lot of it living in post ban. It also doesn't exactly seem like they have. Doesn't exactly seem like they have much here. But I guess that's probably just is the direction to go now post ban. Eight Cascaders plus 2/3 press the enemy, I see. I think I do cast this Bonecrusher and then tap the Fanatic to put Jegantha into my hand. If it resolves. Did I host organize a modern no banless tournament in the past or thinking of someone else? I think you're thinking of Canister. I have never hosted a no banless modern tournament. I did participate in one of Canister's like 2 years ago. My opponent, Sky, after much contemplation, Sky turtles back Subtlety. And then Subtlety pitches Force of Negation. Now, they maybe will top deck a Cascader, but at the moment, at the very least, it doesn't seem like they have a Cascade spell in their hand. Which means I think that I should probably play my Channeler out. Del for the 9. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. When it plays Beseiju and passes, they had a Cascader. They should have used it here. I can just stomp the Endurance itself main phase. So if they force negation this, I have better attacks. I can potentially surveil and do something with that. So if I graveyard this, my Channeler crashes against the wall. I guess I could graveyard this and then cast a Tectus Phoenix, lose this, put my opponent down to 3, and then just have like a really anemic lethal attack next turn, but still lethal attack next turn. So I guess. Modest, thank you for the raid. Hope you're doing well today. Appreciate you. Thanks, Thomas. I agree. I thought that video turned out pretty well. Griefless Necro better than Grief Necro. You know what? I've heard a lot of people saying that. It might be the case. Like you're Like Necro's big problem before was that it's very clunky. It definitely has become unclunked to some extent with the Necro ban. Okay. Well, it took a long time, but we won that one. Andy with the 21 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. So if people are on Press the Enemy now, Deafening Silence hits not only Press the Enemy, but also Ardent Plea. Could be worth bringing in. I don't want to play any Galvanic Discharges against them. I want to go probably down all the Bonecrushers. Maybe keep one. Yeah, I'll play one Deafening Silence, I think. Cascades can't you Eternalize Phoenix, no matter what? Well, no, if they cascaded, they have Subtlety and Generation to block the Phoenix. Yeah, we did get there. Gonna be mulliganing to a sideboard card pretty aggressively on the draw. Also it's had the sky thing too. That's 3 flyers. Or 3 creatures that can block a flyer. A little room for Ulafons to help the Phoenix a bit more. Yeah, I could see that being nice. I mean, the Rumbles and the Seed of Hopes and the Channelers, in theory, do a lot of work there. This hand I think is maybe one we could keep on the play because we could we also don't have white mana for Drannith Magistrate top deck, so let's just go to 6. Sure, I guess. I mean, Seed of Hope can both dig for sideboard cards and fill up the yard, so Phoenix Raptor also has some tension. Yeah, I agree. Isn't this a lot of 3 mana spells for Amped Raptor when you have no other way to use for the energy for bricks? Well, we have Galvanic Discharge to both be another thing to use energy on and to also cast Discharge into a Raptor that can hit our 3-drops. But you also have Bauble to set up your Raptor hits. And I think Raptor is just still a good enough card in this deck, even if on turn 2 it's going to brick more often than you would want it to. Kind of simply put. You could play Tarmogoyf in this spot if you wanted to. Could be maybe better. Yeah, we'll just leave the Raptor in the yard for Living End, I guess, and then Seed again. Hey, Ross. Think a way to avoid ring ban is banning Phlage. Well, a card that works very well with this. I don't know. I think I think banning Phlage is kind of silly. I don't think Phlage is. A lot of people are very dramatic about Phlage as a card, and for me, it is just a super beatable, very, very. I think Phlage is a super well designed card. It's not a card that I have a lot of angst about in the modern format. Not a card that I think the idea of banning Phlage is a little bit silly. Just talking about banning the ring all the time is a little bit silly too. A case for main phase C to find def. I mean, I have one Deafening Silence. I more so would like them to Living End in a spot where it doesn't work out well for them because I have multiple Seed of Hopes. And I just get to put a couple creatures in the yard here potentially. I think that would be what I'd prefer to happen, but maybe that's not going to be what happens. Yeah, the creatures, it's kind of sad that we're on the play would be casting Drannith Magistrates right about now. Tentacle Monster with the 11 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Gonna be not the easiest game to win. I think we should probably Raptor here. Yeah, I'm excited about Duskmoor, and they printed this card Fear of Missing Out, and that card seems really, really good for Modern. Or they spoiled that one. Again, Monster, thank you for the 11. We'll play this out, but I'm not feeling very optimistic. Thanks again, Tentacle, for the 11 months. 11 mana, 11. I hope the cards in Duskborn hit because the flavor is off. Yeah, it is a little bit weird for them to be doing Halloween stuff, just not on Innistrad, but I'm kind of happy they're not just always going back to Innistrad all the time. So I think the plan is tentatively to cast Phlage this turn and then escape it next turn and hope that this stabilizes us. Seems a little bit optimistic. To me, it's really weird to double dip into that flavor. I think that is pretty valid. For sure, I think the Phlage is a balanced card. I mean, it works very, very well with rings, so I can't see other ways to go about this, ring or Phlage. I mean, one thing is we've talked the ring to death, and it's just stopping. It's long since been an interesting conversation, banning the ring, but I don't know. I think that that ring is a card that you can prepare for to beat, just like it's been a card you can prepare for to beat for like the last year and a half, and is very beatable if you do. And I think that there are a lot of decks in the format that have not prepared to beat the ring and are very angsty because of it. And a lot of the decks that I think are very popular to play. But this conversation has long since been interesting and all. Can I block ban talk for now? I don't think so. I don't know. Like this is ban week, you know. In general too, I don't love the like how I unrestricted like a lot of words that we had on the restricted words list that the mods had. I think it's just too much. Like you can't have the word ring, the one ring, restricted on a modern stream. It's just a little silly. I know it's annoying. And really, I should just be better about ignoring it. But it's ban week. We have to talk about it. Have to talk about it. Hopefully, they don't tank too long on their subtlety here. Let's bring in that Deafening Silence now that we have confirmed evidence that they're on press the enemy. I can't believe both of our hands have been triple Seed of Hope hands this for games 2 and 3. I mean, I think you have to keep this against Living End. It's very funny. Might also be right to Surveil instead of the Seed of Hope first. Probably should Seed. Since the bans, I thought about Winota and Modern again. How good do you think that deck is with MH3 and the bans? So for Winota to be good, it will have to go into Boros Energy. And it seems like you probably just don't want to like clunk up the Boros Energy deck in that way. Let's put the Raptor into our hand here. And the next turn we can go. Ooh, well. I think I should Rumble. Just go this way. This way, I just have the most looks at a lock piece for next turn. Okay, there's a Drannith Magistrate. Okay, so what's awesome about this here is that I can go fetch a red source, cast Drannith Magistrate, and then if our opponent subtleties the Magistrate, we can just Raptor into it. Lincoln, 20 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Deck bad bye. Thank you. Finally, some real chat comments again. Did mill over both Stomping Grounds, funny enough. Maybe I should have sacked the spawn so I could cast Fanatic if this doesn't get subtletied. If they have double subtlety into Cascader, we can laugh and laugh and laugh. I tried Ocelot, Guide of Social Johnny, and Aethervel deck. I don't think so. Can't you just Raptor the Magistrate? I'm gonna try. That was the plan. I talked about that being the plan the whole time. But they have 3 more of these in the deck. Graveyard's a turtle. They have the subtlety. Can't you just Spike? Can't you just? Living End is dead. Living End is dead. Long live Living End. Tapland! Let's go. Let's go, baby. And they're already down a turtle too, which is one of their answers to Magistrate. Tank. Where did they bin turtle? I think they bin turtle because they found subtlety off as the other card. Here's my Boris Winona build. I liked just playing Delny instead. Yeah, I mean, you gotta play Ranger Captain. Dude, no one will ever play Ranger Captain in any of these decks. But, like, you gotta hit Ranger Captain so you can, like, lock your opponent out with Winona. It's, I think, really important. Yeah, it seems, I don't know, it seems fine. Just so much clunkier than, like, the other energy shells. So I don't really think it's where you want to be. Your turn, opponent. After like 10 minutes, plays a basic forest. They got off of the Degenerate. We're not going to play into. We're not going to attack into the Endurance uneffectively. I do think I'm going to bestow Phoenix onto Raptor so I can get some pressure going though. Did Tune the Narrative just fall out of favor? What happened to Blue Energy? Blue Energy became Jeskai Control and has been a tier 1 modern deck for a long time. The whole time, basically. Delany Press Pride shuts down Moto. I bet, yeah. I think we had that in, like, one of the Essence Reliquary builds. Are my dogs avoiding my streaming room? Athena is usually, like, off-screen down there, and then Lucy's usually in the next room over with Esther. Because we had a chair for, we still have a chair for Lucy, but it's just in there now. Press the enemy gets around Drannith Magistrate. I think it does, actually. But they have to have the Living End or the Cascader in their hand, too. It seems like it would be bounced, and then you could cast it. It is a little confusing. Are you my opponent asking asking right now? I hope not. Oh, right, cast from hand. Never mind. So yeah, it should always work then, huh? Dude, my opponent took like 5 minutes on the turn, didn't cast anything. So annoying. So annoying. Somehow, even when you beat Living End, it's just like the most miserable experience possible. Just tank it on the parlor. Yeah, I think they probably have subtlety and endurance. I think that makes a lot of sense. So I'm just gonna probably not cast these fanatics too aggressively. What if Watsy Errata's Grief to look and discard a card at random instead? Does it power down enough? Like its Evoking Grief becomes 1 mana him? Genuine question. Well, genuine answer is that they will never do this, and they will never power level errata grief, and they will never unban it and power level errata. So it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? This is not something that will ever happen. So my genuine answer to your genuine question is just kind of a silly thing. Okay, I hear Athena asking to come inside, so I'll give my opponent a little bit of a taste of their own medicine here.
What's up? It's me, your friend Aspiring Spike. What's up? It's me, your friend Aspiring Spike.
So we don't need to worry about instant speed living ends because Deafening Silence stops the press the enemy. If they do living end us here, we have also Ardent Plea is turned off. Brave Guy with 18 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. So I think I'm not going to cast Seed of Hope. Right now, in order to play around Endurance. Because if they living end right now and I have Fanatic 6, Phoenix versus Subtlety, that's okay. That's this is a game-winning board state for me. Captain, so I think it's better to play around Endurance by not casting Seed of Hope, because if they do have the Endurance, then we can Seed of Hope. And they choose to not put Shardless Agent back on top. Everything seems to be going okay here. Okay, the double block on 6. We can Woodlands, copy 6. We also get to Graveyard of Phlage. I was opponent 4 minutes playing Living End. Living End players play so slow. It is what it is. I don't think I need to play this Magistrate here, but could be famous last words. Is Woodland here just for value? Well, the main idea is that you're dumping a lot of stuff into your graveyard. You have a lot of card selection, and then Woodland is kind of mostly here to copy Phlage. And so it's like your Arena of Glory with extra utility and lets you be a more green-based Phlage deck. What are we doing here, opponent? I'm not. Don't think I'm supposed to tap the hearse here, but what are we doing? I don't think I have a fetchable red source here for me to escape the Phlage and bestow Detective's Phoenix. Yeah, the fetchables completely. I will escape Phlage again. We'll never be free of this game. Can't you just retrace it? I mean, I can retrace it once or escape it once. It seems like I would just be better to escape. I'm not worried about my opponent living ending, if that's the concern. But I do the comments that start with "can't you just" are always we always see a lot more of these comments in games like this where opponents are playing super slowly. I'm trying. I'm trying to finish the game. I promise I'm trying. They don't have evidence bestow. I didn't have enough red and white to escape and then bestow. I guess I could have just bestowed onto the 6 and retraced. Sure. This game is over. It's been over for like 10 minutes. Uh, we're 2-0, and we're 2-0. About an hour later. All week I've been asked, is Living in Dead? Is Living in Dead with the Grief Band? And all week I've been saying, I hope so. I hope so. And I still hope so. Can't you just ask about it? All right, keeping this. I'm going to go basic mountain in the Temple Garden, probably. Take your time. Take your time. Okay. I'm going to try a Woodland Hive Mind deck for the memes. Maybe. Sounds like a pretty good meme. Okay, up against Goryo's. Just tuning in is the goal of this deck. Energy value. No, the deck is very weird. It's more like graveyard value. Like you're instantly milling with Rumble, DRC, and Seed of Hope, Fanatic, Detectives Phoenix, and Phlage. And then you want to get to a point where you're like Woodlandsing, copying your Phlage, and you're like a more green-based Phlage deck because you could Woodlands it. I know it's a very weird deck, but it's kind of the idea there. So we're gonna have Delirium. They take the Rumble. Draw a card off for Bauble. Draw a card off for turn. Looks like we'll just cast a Fanatic of Rhonas here. And get in 3. So hopefully my opponent, we know they do have a Traxa. If my opponent can just discard Goryo's, it's obviously pretty bad for me. I think in this spot, I'm going to Eternalize a Fanatic of Rhonas, but I do it post-combat, so I can get in for 3 with the Channeler. Wouldn't have had Delirium. Oh yeah, that's true. If they took Giant, we would not. If they took Giant, we can cast Rumble to get Delirium. Surveil land. Not that lucky. So they are going to put in a Traxa in the graveyard here. We saw a Traxa off the Bauble. Do they just not have a Goryo's Vengeance? That is what we're hoping for. The more time passes, the less likely it is that they have a Goryo's Vengeance. Now 20% likely, 15% likely, 2% likely, 0%. Let's go. Kind of surprised they cast that Thoughtseize. All right, that's Goryo's. Average Goryo's game. So, Deafening Silence is kind of a weird card in this matchup where it stops them from going Goryo's plus Ephemerate in the same turn. But if you put Deafening Silence in play, what they will do most of the time is end of turn Goryo's untap Ephemerate. I think I'm still going to have a couple copies in my deck. Yeah, I think there's a good chance they're on Bind. Binding is very good in Goryo's. In fact, I remember we used to play it, and there was a time where we were kind of torn between being more in on like Grief Scam and more in on Binding, and so I guess you don't really have to worry about it so much anymore. No Hearse, 5 lander, let's just go mulliganing. We have so many triple Seed of Hope draws today. I'm going to keep. Can you perhaps explain the Fanatic? I don't see what all the mana is used for. Legit question. So, because you're dumping so much stuff in your graveyard, you're really often able to eternalize other copies of Fanatic with Fanatic. And the main thing Fanatic is for is to activate Woodland a bit cheaply. So I think I'm going to get a little greedy and Seed of Hope and like maybe try to entomb the Phoenix and put another card into my hand, which is what we get to do. I know this list is a little confusing. It took a little while to like kind of hammer out. I'm not playing Cauldron. I actually have only Fanatic as like a Cauldronable activated ability. I'm not loving Thoughtseize and Gorios anymore. I personally always disliked Thoughtseize and Gorios. I way prefer to be on Force of Negation because you can just protect your it's like you're an instant speed combo deck. You can protect it with Force, and it's like Force is like a better hit off of Atraxa, but it's obviously like a passable card. So this finds them just a Celestial Purge. Don't really know why I guess they think I might be playing Blood Moon. I'm going to cast Raptor. Raptor's a pretty high variance card in this deck, but I think that's okay. For Phlage, I mean, if they're bringing in Surge or Celestial Purge to exile Resolved Phlage, for me that is I would not bring it in as Gorios. Ooh, they got to Entomb Atraxa here. Should the one bring being Gorios? Definitely not. Definitely not. So this is a pretty juicy Atraxa. They're hitting enchantment, creature, artifact, instant, land, sorcery. When you rapture into an adventure card, can you cast either side of it? Yes, we did just do that even. Or we cast the adventure side. In their hand, they put Thoughtseize, Gorios, Leyline Binding, Solitude, Nile, Spellbomb, Polluted Delta. I'm trying to actively brew miracles. It was the deck that got me to Modern 2014. I don't care if the deck will never close to be tier 1. Do I have any ideas on the build? I mean, we trophied with miracles this year when the Surveil lands came out. But I think it's been a pretty tough. So they're just going to Gorios this next turn. So I think unless they find Hearse off this Seed of Hope, we'll pack it in. Okay. Game 3. Like the Surveil lands make the deck a lot better. I don't think that Miracles is probably super bad. I think that Miracles is probably a somewhat passable deck. But the big problem with the archetype is that Wrath Disguise is better than Terminus, but I do think that Brain Surge is a direction you can go with the deck still. Let's give this one a keep. It doesn't have a hearse, but has a lot of looks at a hearse. Isn't Jace better than Surge? No, I don't think so. Surge is cheaper. It's instant speed. It's less fragile. It's not weak to lightning bolt. But you can play both. Do you think that the Gorios list running bindings is the best way to build it right now? It seems very good. I don't know if that you can confidently say that. I don't think anyone can confidently say they have the best build yet. It's a little bit too early. I think there's a good chance the binding build is really good. The flare build we played seems like for me it seems like the flare build would probably be like a variant that I think has a lot of potential and like nobody tries for a long time. But I liked that build a lot, and I would be interested in playing it again personally. There's just a lot of ways you can hammer it out. So I would just mostly recommend trying to keep an open mind if you're a Gorios gamer at the moment. Okay, so they Surveil tracks into the yard here. Haven't seen any new cards from Duskmourn look interesting. Well, I haven't seen any, but someone cited the text of Fear of Missing Out, and that card seems really good. I'm just going to graveyard that for Detective's Phoenix. And let's take a look at what they're drawing of Marsh Flats. And then I guess we play the Fanatic of Rhonas, and then if we draw land off of our Bauble or a draw for turn, we could go Phlage into tap Fanatic for 4, into Rumble, dig for a Hearse, and if we miss on Hearse, we can cast 6. Kimmick with the 3 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Yeah, so Fear of Missing Out is a 2-mana enchantment creature, 2/3 menace, enters, discard a card, draw a card, which is mandatory. But if you're hellbent, it's just card advantage. And if you attack and you have Delirium, you get to untap a creature and take an extra combat step, which is that card seems really really good in like Hollow One. Okay, so again they're going for Gorios without the ability to ephemerate. Is their Atrax going to be as juicy? No, much less juicy. They are getting a land and an Archaeologist or a Frog. So I don't think I've seen any other card. I haven't even seen that one. Just the text got posted. Yeah, that card seems great. Is it a literal FOMO card? Yeah, the card is Fear of Missing Out. Is Shadow Prophecy good in Goras if you're still on the Leyland plan? I don't think I'd play it anymore. I have played it in the past, but yeah, I don't think I'd probably play it. All right, so we're sticking to the plan. I guess I get another white source for Phlage Escapes. Or I could not and like just not be dead to another Phlage. Kind of close. I'm gonna try this. Or sorry, to another Atraxa hit. I'm gonna try this. Okay, so drain for 3, tap for 3 green. They did choose Psychic Frog and Delta, by the way. Seed of Hope wouldn't be the worst, but it's not a hit off the Rumble, so we need to graveyard it. I might just cast 6 even if I do find Hearse. I did find the Hearse. I guess like I could just haste the 6 next turn too. So we'll play the Hearse out. Might as well graveyard for that for some value. I think this turn is maybe an example of what this deck is trying to do. I know this deck is really confusing, but this is just like a very, very much a graveyard focused Naya aggro deck. Frog, very good. Spellbomb, very, very good here. A lot of work undone. How do you hate 6? The Detective's Phoenix in my yard. So draw a card from the Bauble. Draw a card for turn. Has double white, double red been a problem? So one big thing is you're in a big way trying to shifting woodland your Phlage instead of escaping it. Obviously you can still escape it, but a big part of the deck's game plan is to shifting woodland Phlage. Saving this for 6 escape I think is better than surveilling in this spot. So we know one of our opponent's cards is an Atraxa. I think I need to do this to like make flying frogs a little bit weaker. Thrilled if they counter this, I guess. I could just retrace. Oh, I guess I don't have the white mana, sorry. Discard a Thoughtseize off the Indulgence. Rumble will be a pretty good draw. Yeah, I think I'm okay to just pass for a turn and then draw Rumble next turn. Do you think 6 would have been too strong if it had the usual when it enters or attacks? I mean, 6 is already a super modern playable card, and so I would not support that change, I guess. But it seems I think they did a great job with it. Would be much, much better if it had the ETB. Might be getting Hardcast Solituded here. Oh no. Overcommitted, I guess. Oh, and then also, this is kind of a punt for me to tap the hearse, because now they can discard the Atraxa. They don't discard the Atraxa, though, so maybe they're going to try to hardcast it. We do get to eternalize the Fanatic. I tried brewing with Creation of Avacyn. No, that's another card I would like to cast. I think that there's like maybe an interesting inverter shell with Creation of Avacyn. It could be, you could build, if you build mono black Reanimator, I'm kind of interested in Creation as like your plan B against Graveyard Hate. Okay, so no Goryo's in the hand, it seems. They can put either Thoughtseize or Tainted Indulgence into their hand off of this Archaeologist. Try to invert it with Creation, is very slow. Yeah, it seems that way. Kind of predictably, I guess. Now they did graveyard a the green source, so they might not be able to hardcast Atraxa anymore. Oh, so this Deafening Silence is a bit awkward. Now I can't bestow my Detective's Phoenix, but I think it's good to play so they can't like go Tainted Indulgence into Goryo's. Well, I guess they could just Indulgence now. Alright, so they graveyard and Ephemerate. We're also like exactly dead to a Goryo's, which, you know, feels bad. Is Grixis Murkside decent enough, or is Dimir much better? I think Dimir's better. I don't know. I don't really like the Red Splash so much, but it's like okay. I know it's like popular this week. They have another Wrath Disguise. Tapped Katria Triome into a Leyline Binding, targeting Deafening Silence. Into... Well, I was just dead to the Goryo's, but that's okay. I think I am gonna call the stream here. That Living In match took a long time, and I am very hungry, so not feeling super well either from yesterday. But we got a challenge tomorrow, so the stream might start an hour late. I think I'm gonna try to start the stream at a normal time and do like a normal